Hi, everybody. My name is Gretchen Hydo. I am a master coach through the ICF. Welcome to my first Wednesdays. I do this coaching call once a month on the first Wednesday of the month to really help coaches bridge the gap from what they learn in their coaching certification to business development. So many good coaches know how to coach, but they're not really sure how to find clients, what to say to clients. Oh, I need clients. And so that's what I do once a month. It's my give back to the community. So this first Wednesday call is going to be uploaded as is to my YouTube channel, Gretchen Hydo International. So if you do not want your face seen or your voice heard, you're going to need to self-manage that, turn off your camera, don't say anything, but I think it's pretty okay if you want to, and we will go from there. Tonight, what I wanted to focus on was not only helping you how to get clients, but talking about things like how do you get clients when maybe you don't have a website or a niche or the perfect branding or a lead magnet or social media or fill in the blank, right? Because so many times what happens for coaches is they think that they need to have every single thing dialed in before they can start. And the truth is, for coaches, all we need to be able to do is coach to be able to start. So that's what we are going to talk about tonight. Before we get started, one of the things that I was wondering about, just to kind of get the wheels turning here, is what's one thing that maybe you've been waiting on to do or to have done before you start enrolling clients? What's one thing that you've been waiting on before you start enrolling clients? Or what's the story that you've been telling yourself about why you're not ready yet? And you can put it in the chat. If anyone is feeling brave and wants to kick us off, please feel free to unmute. Story that you're telling yourself about why you're not ready, or something that you're waiting on before you start trying to enroll clients.
I feel like what you said about the niche is so accurate for me. I've been kind of just falling back on, okay, but what's the specific problem that I'm solving? What's the specific area that I need to be quote unquote an expert in before I reach out to people? So that's
Before you can reach out to people. So for you, it feels like the block is this idea that you have to have a niche. You have to know exactly what problem you're solving before you can start.
exactly.
Okay, thanks for sharing that, Mary Grace. Anyone feel similar to Mary Grace? Just raise your hand. Some. Okay. Who else? I'd love to know, just because, I have an outline, but I like to really talk to who's in the room. What are some of the other things that maybe you're struggling with when it comes to hey, I want to start, I want to find clients, but I haven't done X, Y, and Z yet. What's your X, Y, and Z?
I'm happy to share. I have my version 1.0 and I've had clients, I've gone through certification, but I'm ready to really ramp up. And I'm like, oh, but 2.0 isn't ready yet. So I'm in the midst of a website redesign, getting clarity on my niche. So I'm sort of ready to ramp up in a certain way and holding myself back because it doesn't feel, because I'm like, oh, but it's sort of just to come and it's going to look great and it's going to, sort of be closer to how I want to present myself, but I also don't want to slow down.
Yeah.
Um, so that's where I am.
So there's a tension point around what is already created and what needs to be created.
Yeah, I feel like I'm no longer version 1.0, but I don't have all of the version 2.0. So in this kind of messy middle.
Okay. Okay. So the messy middle, I really can relate to that. Who else? What's something that you're telling yourself or that you're waiting on before you really go for it with client creation?
Something that bothered me at the beginning was certification. You know,
Vacation. Yeah. Say a little bit more. Was it the idea that you needed it before you could start?
well, there's multiple layers to it. You know, that I needed it to start, that I needed it to give myself legitimacy, that without it there wouldn't be any value. And so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, it can still be important and useful in its place. But like you were saying, like the key part is having conversations, coaching, doing the work. That is what will eventually run a business.
Yeah, that's it. So June, were you raising your hand?
Yeah, I was trying not to, but I
Just break
it
the
had
ice, June.
so yeah, so I'm going from running a company to being a coach. And
Mm,
so I'm concerned with perception.
yeah.
Like, why is she doing this? No type of thing. So
Yeah. What kind of a company do you have or did you have?
um I had a company called VC Task Force. I ran programs for the VC community, venture capital community.
Mm,
So it's executives, investors, entrepreneurs.
okay, and now to let them know that you're becoming a coach and kind of this, why is she doing this? So perception, and thank you so much for participating, June. Here's the deal, it's what I heard from all of you, perception. What you're thinking someone else is going to think about you. So it's a lot of mental gymnastics. We're thinking what we think about us. We're thinking about what they might think about us, and then they're thinking whatever they're thinking about us, right? So it's a lot of mental gymnastics about perception. But here's what I can promise you. Regardless of the past industry you were in, regardless of your credential, website, niche or no niche, what is going to help you to have paying clients is to have conversations that leave people changed. I'll say that one more time. What's going to help you to have paying clients is to have conversations that leave people changed. They have value. So regardless of the rest of it, and the rest of it is the whole garden, is the way that I look at it, that you have some nice flowers over here, it's a website, then you have these other attractive things over here, oh, credential, oh, and now you feel good enough about yourself over here. But the truth is, you can coach without any of those things because you probably all went to some kind of a certification program where you learned the ICF core competencies and how to get a topic, outcome, and measurement for all of your clients. You learned about doing a midpoint check. You learned about helping them to have their aha moments, accountability, and to feel acknowledged. When we are having those kinds of conversations about someone, what we're really doing is listening for their biggest vision. What is it that on the inside, this person really wants? They are here and they want to be here. And coaching is all about bridging the gap from where they are to where they want to go. It doesn't matter if you have a website or not. No amount of reading or talking about your niche or your credentials is going to get a client from here to here. It's not how it works. And so I like to do some myth busting because we do come to these and we think like, oh, but I can't, I'm not ready yet. And I call phony baloney on that. Yes, you can, because you're a coach. Coaches know how to get people from where they are to where they want to go. Now, here are some things that will really help you to be exceptional at coaching so that when you have these types of conversations, and we're going to go over the different types of conversations in a moment, you can stand out of the crowd as a coach. There are a lot of coaches out there, and I hear my clients, my coaching clients that are coaches ask me all the time, like, how are we supposed to make money when there's just so many of us that do what we do? I must have a niche. I must have one. Steve Chandler always talks about, he's the author of The Prosperous Coach. He always talks about, well, what if your niche was clowns? And the clown had to wear a red hat, and then the clown had to ride a tricycle, and then the clown had to have a monkey on its shoulder. You sure don't have much of a niche. You don't have any coaching clients because where are you going to find this 1 or 5 people? But instead, what we do have are relationships. And when you're thinking about coaching, what we're doing is expanding our relationships. We are doing that with the skills of our active listening, really hearing what somebody is saying, and more importantly, what they're not saying. What's stuck right here, usually that big vision, that dream, that goal, the thing that's really hard that they're embarrassed to say. and figuring out the why behind it. You know, so many of the people that I work with, because in coaching, we're typically working with well-functioning people. You know, this isn't something that, you know, therapists are attracting all sorts of people. We're attracting really well-functioning people. They're already doing okay. They want more. They want to be doing better. And so when you're thinking about this, what are some of the biggest struggles? And for the people that I coach, some of the biggest struggles are the guilt that they feel about wanting more. Plain and simple. It's not a niche, it's a human problem. And so for you, what I want you to be thinking of is not necessarily a niche, but the human problems that people come to you for in your world, the people that you know, the communities that you might be a part of, the people that might be on your LinkedIn, what are some of their human problems? So I want you to take a moment, because I want this to be more than just, you know, me saying some things to you. I really want you to walk away with something. What are some of the human problems that the people that you might coach or that you have coached have? So for me, one of the very human problems that the people that I coach have is that they feel guilty that they want more because they already have a good life. Or one of the very human problems is they did most things right. They followed those rules. They did whatever it was that they were supposed to do. They checked off the list. And still, this is how it feels. And that feels embarrassing to them because they thought that there would be a different feeling at the end of all of the quote unquote hard work. And it's just not the payoff that they were expecting. That's a real common one that I have for human problems. So I want you to think about it. Hi, Bill. Good to see you. I want you to think about it and really think for you, what are some of the most human problems that your people have? Just take a minute and write some down. Drop some in the chat. Let other people see what are the human problems. And I'd love it if some people would unmute and share. You will get more from this if you participate. So what are some of the human problems?
The relationships problem with either a partner or someone in the family, or maybe even a child, all those type issues.
Ooh, and when you said the thing about the child, what do you think is underneath even that? What's the belief that they have either about themselves, usually about themselves, the people that are coming to you?
Sometimes like it's my fault that this happened type thing. They take the blame for they take on things that they shouldn't.
Yeah, and beliefs about themselves that may not
Yes.
be true, but it's the way that they are measuring themselves on the yardstick.
Right. Yeah.
I could really feel that human problem.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you. Who else? What's a human problem? Hi, Michael.
Hey, Gretch, how are
Oh,
you?
good to see you, my friend.
I know I had to jump in. It's been too long.
So
One of
tell-
the things that, and do you want me to give a little? I've worked with Gretchen in the past. She's amazing, and I attribute a lot of where I am right now to the work we did together, both in her Stairway to Six and individually. I'm giving you some plugs here. If you're,
I see that. I won't interrupt.
I hope I get a kickback, man. Anyway, no, one of the things as I've worked with, I work with business owners, entrepreneurs, people looking to grow and scale businesses, and also individuals. No matter what the sphere is or the space, people are always struggling with juggling five things at the same time. So a couple of my entrepreneurs and executives who are women, especially, are really struggling with how to have all of it, how to have a family and a career, and they get in complete overwhelm and then oftentimes feel a sense of like giving up or that they don't have enough support, and they lose their dream, they lose their vision.
Yeah, that's big. You know, Michael, what do you think the belief is that they have underneath those problems that you listed?
It could be anything from scarcity mentality, that they can't have it all, or that their role should be one thing and not the other.
Mm-hmm.
They've assigned that to themselves. They had a purpose and a cause, but things keep getting in the way of that, and they're not really sure how to navigate the path of being able to have both. I mean, I look at most of the people I know that have done really well, like you, like my sister, who grew and scaled her money management firm and then sold it. And she worked really hard, but she worked smart, and she has two beautiful, boys that are grown and doing really well. So somehow you can make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's some of it is messaging and what you tell yourself.
Yes.
So was it June that was on the call talking about, was that who it was that works with VCs?
Yes.
And if you don't mind me just adding one more thing, with June, it's like, gosh, everything that you've done is such a beautiful path to becoming a really prosperous coach, because you've had a lot of experience and you've worked with a lot of different kinds of people. And if you can craft a story, more stories around the success you've had with those particular people are going to want that.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael. So when we open this up and I asked you what was keeping you from go time, it was perception. And when we're thinking about the human problems, it's also perception. So if you think about this, what your clients are struggling with is perception as well. It's usually an idea they have about themselves, a situation, or the world that is keeping them stuck. So when you think about reaching out to people, who do you know that could use a perception shift? The answer is everybody. Everybody could use some kind of perception shift to help them enhance. And so let me pause there. What are you hearing in what I just shared with you? How is it resonating? How does it feel like, really? What are you hearing in this? Anyone want to unmute and give some feedback? Thanks, Kate. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I've just been noticing this in my daily life now, because for everyone here, I still work corporate jobs as I'm building my coaching business. And now I look at everyone and listen to what they would need coaching for. And it's everyone. And I'm kind of hearing that in this perception conversation as well, is that like we all have these inner beliefs and these stories we've been telling ourselves, and either it's like the perception of ourselves or the fear of the perception of others and all the things. And I think literally everyone can relate to that.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Who else? What were you going to add to this? I saw someone else. Where'd you go? Mary Grace.
Yes. Hi. So, I mean, I'm hearing the same thing. I think everyone can benefit from coaching. And I just strongly believe in the value of coaching. Where I'm getting stuck here is I feel like a lot of the times the conversations I've had this week with people that need the perception shift don't necessarily think that they deserve coaching, or, it's hard to, convince those. You don't want to convince those people, right? So the people that need coaching the most might not seek it out or might not feel that they deserve it. So that's
Well,
where
isn't it interesting though, because even that is perception, right? Even that is perception, that's their perception of the situation or your perception of the situation.
True.
So that's a really good notice. So here's what I want everyone to realize. The types of conversations that you want to be having with people, especially right now where people are a little bit more financially afraid than they've been in a while. There's some uncertainty in really everything, government, all of it. So people are feeling unsafe in a lot of ways. Talk to them about perception. A good connection call could look like, because these are the 3 types of calls that you want to be having to get clients and to work with clients in a way that you are serving. You have the reconnection conversation, you have connection conversations, and then you have the coaching conversation. I'll go over all of them. But at the core, all of them are about perception. Perception of what is and isn't happening in their life, and perception of their biggest vision. Do they even have a vision right now? If not, what is happening? And so a reconnection conversation is a conversation with someone that maybe you used to work with. You went to school with them. You knew them from something in the past. Maybe they're on your LinkedIn, and you send them a note. You send them an email that you want to reconnect. This is not a bait and switch conversation. This really is 15 minutes of reconnecting where you want to hear their perception on life today. How are things in your world? We haven't talked in 5 years. The last time I talked to you, you were blah, 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 blah. What is happening for you now? You are not rushing in to say, I'm a coach, I'm a coach, I'm a coach. It's the quickest way for people to have to go. Find out what their perception is. What is going on in their world? It's a perception conversation. It's perception reconnection. Same thing with your connection calls. So these are the people that maybe they've reached out to you or they've scheduled 30 minutes to talk to you. You want to find out what is their perception of the world today. So send them some of those pre-questions that I've talked about. Things like, what's going on in your world? What's the most important thing for me to know about you right now? What are you hoping to create by the end of the year? Where are you stuck? These are perception questions to help people get sharper at looking at what's true for them in this moment. Michael, I'm just going to mute you. So it's a perception conversation. And then when we coach with someone, when we do a gifted coaching, you're going to coach them. And when you are coaching, when someone comes to you and they're here and they want this and you're coaching them around it, it's a shift in perception that has done it. Because in that coaching session, they haven't run out to learn, made $1 million or lost the 20 pounds or written the book, but they've had a perception shift on how to do it. So the key for tonight for you is it's all about perception, yours and theirs. Let me pause here. I want to take your questions and your comments before we keep going. What are you getting from this so far? What do you feel like is missing if you're not getting something from this so far?
I'm really intrigued by something that Mary Grace said at the start of this about a lot of times people don't perceive that they could even use coaching or that there is even a problem or they don't even know they're stuck, yet they are. And so I'm trying to just process and think through that of how that fits in with all this and with the process.
Well, I'll turn it back to you on that. So think about perception. Where do you think this might fit in?
I feel like people often have problems on like the sides of their lives. I'm often big ones right in front of them, but they just haven't stopped to look at X and realize that, oh, this thing is a problem. It really has been, eating away at me, or, I've been putting it off, and therefore I need to give it attention. I think that's one aspect, but there's more to it.
I like where you're going with this. So just let's play with this for a minute. Sometimes it's a problem, and sometimes people don't feel like they're having any problem, but the perception then can be questions around how can it get even better? And so our job as coaches, yes, the active and reflective listening, but really getting in there and finding out how are they seeing their life right now? So let's say that someone is saying like things are going really well. Peel back the layer on that. Sometimes people use that as a shutdown. Things are going really well because they don't want you to ask them anything else. I like to find out, like, really, what is going so well? That sounds exciting. What's going so well? Let them tell you. Even when they're telling you what's going well, out of the other side of their mouth comes the thing that they're struggling with. So it's perception, it's listening, and for you as a coach to be completely turned on. You are listening with everything that you have. When someone says things are going well, many times for coaches, we shut off, then it's like, oh, they're never going to need our services. That's a perception shift. Perception for you, perception for them. There's probably something there. If they really are telling me everything that's going well and I'm not spotting a problem, I might say, how could it get even better? And usually there's something that can be uncovered there. Oh, well, I couldn't even wish for better because I already have all of this, or wow, I've never thought of that before, whatever it might be. And so for the people who feel like they might not need coaching, they might not, that's completely fine, but they might want it if we offer something with their perception. How can you meet up on the vision and help them with the perception and an experience that adds value that can possibly lead to paid coaching? What else are you hearing or wondering about this?
If I can offer something to what Nick said,
Yeah.
one of the things that I often or sometimes uncover is that people come in thinking they're clear on something, and through the power of good coaching questions, they realize that they're needing more clarity, or there's an opportunity to gain more clarity about something. And so sometimes even through the act of just being a good coach and asking good questions, you can bring awareness to something that maybe they didn't appreciate before.
Mm-hmm. And again, perception. So that's what this all boils down to. All of these words, all of these things that we're saying, it's all about the perception of it. And so anytime that you can help someone with the perception shift, that's valuable. And so let's say that you're having a reconnection call with somebody and you're hearing all of their things, whatever it is that they're talking about, you might say, huh, what would a perception shift look like for that? Especially if they're telling you a problem. I wonder what a perception shift would look like. And just see what they say. It's a really good opening when you're asking someone, hey, since I last saw you, what's been going on in your life? You're going to get to hear these different things. If you're not feeling brave enough in the conversation to do it, you can follow up with an email and say, Gretchen, it was so good talking to you after not seeing you for 3 years. I'm so happy that you're doing X, Y, and Z now. I did hear you say whatever it is, and I'm wondering, what if there was a perception shift on that? And that's where you can invite them to connection call, coaching session. It's a really good opener that is non-threatening. Most people are very intrigued by the word perception. They don't even know that it's their perception that is running the show, but it is. It's our perception. It's the way that we see things. It's the lens that we're viewing our life through and the lives of others that really constitute if we're going to get coaching, not get coaching, move to that city, date that person, have those kids, like that. It's our perception. So perception is powerful. Emily.
I wonder if, as a coach, I don't think perception is jargony, but I wonder if you ever if it lands that way for folks. And paired with that, if you have any other kind of phrasing that you might suggest around, like, what would it look like if there was a perception shift?
I have not heard anyone else using perception shift. Maybe they do.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything that's new. How many of you have heard coaches talking about perception shift? Anyone? Maybe a little bit. Yeah. So I don't think it's jargony yet. Who knows? It could get jargony. Another thing that you can say is, I heard this, and it sounds like you're wanting to bridge the gap to this. Wondering if this is something that feels important and that you'd like to move the needle on, we should talk. This is my specialty. So move the needle is another phrase that can be used to help people get to where they want to go. But I have found that, perception is something that when you put it out there, people do take notice. It does make them think.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Who else? Something that you're wondering here. Bill.
I don't know if this is exactly germane to this conversation, but it seems to me that there's a huge, huge ocean of clients out there. And I think we limit ourselves if we think that we've got one fishing pole that we can use to pull in those clients. And if we can think about having a fleet of fishing trawlers that we can put out through different avenues, whether it be workshops that we've pulled together or speaking engagements or books, should we want to write a book, or all these different things to capture people's attention, to meet them like they see something that we've written, or they see where we've spoken someplace, or a YouTube video that we put up, and it helps them make that connection. Like, yeah, I'm experiencing that, and I want to talk to this person to get to figure out what's going on, to get more insight into this. It just seems like we shouldn't limit ourselves to just the one way of trying to attract these clients to us. God, with technology, there's so many different things that we can do these days.
So many, so many. Thank you for that, Bill. That's really the truth. That why pigeonhole? Why think that you have to have these 5 things ready to go before you can coach? Because the truth is, it's not true. What you have to be able to do is have your own perception shift that you're ready to go now. That if someone was in front of you that you could coach, that you really could coach them. You know, if there's a person and you ask the right questions, there is always a possibility for a coaching topic. Always, every single time. Even when things are good, how could it get even better? What would create even more satisfaction for you? How could you build upon that? I'm really hearing that this is happening. What's the next level up for you? So you can ask these kinds of questions. So we can ask the expanding questions to help our potential clients see bigger vision. So some of them come to us and we hear problems right away. Problems are also just perception. It's the thoughts around situations that are problems. That's usually what's troublesome for people. It's the way that we are thinking about it. So sometimes there's a good reframe. Sometimes there's some coaching to be done around it, but it's all about that slowed down conversation to help a person truly identify what it is that they want. And getting someone to actually say what they want can be the hardest part of coaching, because this is where it comes up, the guilt about wanting, well, I shouldn't, I can't, people like me don't. You will hear all sorts of limiting beliefs. Perception shift. That's where the coaching begins. Okay. So I hope that this is some good gems so far, and I see some thinking faces, so that's nice. Something that I want you to be thinking about is, if I said tomorrow you needed to identify 3 people to have a connection call with, perception call with, who are those 3 people? Write them down. Write down 3 people. If you were going to outreach, who would they be? Did everyone have some people written down? Yeah. Okay. Now, what's the story that comes up about why you will or won't reach out to them this week? Look at that list. If you were tasked with this and I said, tomorrow, really, I want you to reach out to them. What's the immediate thought that the mind gives to you? Who's brave enough to share? This is the real-time hot seat coaching.
What if they don't think that I can help them? I know that's a perception, but it's like, and I've talked to people that, like, you're talking about recognizing problems, like I can quickly see they've got a lot going on, but somehow they don't think, and then maybe it's not personal, just me specifically, they just don't think anybody can help them, or, they're kind of stuck in this, that, I don't know. And maybe some people don't even really want help. I don't know. There's people that
That could
kind
be,
of,
yeah.
that, so, anyway, so that's what comes to mind is.
Okay, so can we do a little spot coaching?
Sure.
Okay, look at the people that you wrote down. Who are you specifically thinking that about? You can give them a fake name.
Okay. Anna.
Anna. Okay, tell me about Anna.
Just has like grief from someone that has passed, and just a lot of kind of unmanageability with a lot of different relationships. There's kind of a number of different things going on at the same time.
So with Anna, when you're thinking about Anna and everything you know about Anna, is now the right time for coaching, or would Anna be a better candidate for therapy? And I don't know, but I'm wondering because of the grief that you're saying and the unmanageability.
Could be a better candidate for therapy. That's possible.
Okay. Okay. So with Anna, it really might be therapy. If not, think about the ways and everything that you know about coaching. What specifically do you think coaching could offer Anna right now?
Kind of a way to cope with being overwhelmed, some the enormity of it all, maybe.
I really like the word enormity. Dig deeper on that. Say some more about it.
Maybe, try to break down some of these different areas where, and I was just thinking, even with therapy, okay, yeah, maybe some of the grief stuff you want to talk to a therapist, but maybe there's some other areas that, we can further dive into to get to more to what is it that you're really looking for here? What's the direction you want to take this, that kind of thing.
Okay. So what are you seeing now that could be possible for Anna?
Well, see the possibility for coaching maybe in those certain areas, but it's like getting her to, I guess that's where I'm trying to make that switch as to what is it, how do I present it to her in such a way that she could see it.
So that's why I wanted to slow this down. So what if the outreach to Anna, how do you know Anna? Is she a friend? Like, who is she in your life?
Just through a friend of a friend type thing.
Have you spoken with her before?
And no, it's been more like kind of indirect type. No, I have not.
Okay. Does she know that you coach?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Would it be strange to Anna if you reached out?
Think so. No, I would not.
So what if it was, Anna, I woke up with you on my mind.
Mhm.
I know that there's been that the enormity, use that word because that I can feel that word, the enormity of the situation that you are going through has caused overwhelm and probably some chaos. I wonder if spending an hour together to create a roadmap for a way out where we could organize these issues and make them bite-sized would be helpful.
Okay, well, that's good.
See what I mean? It's something like that. And so
Mhm.
that's why when we come up with our own perception of, yeah, but what if she doesn't think that I can help? If you just reach out and say, Anna, I know you've been going through a lot. Would you like a coaching session? No, she doesn't. She does not want a coaching session. We have to get really specific about what we think, even if we don't know for sure. A lot of times we're guessing, but our intuition is part of what makes us great coaches. And so are you seeing, you did know some things about her. When I said say a little bit more, you said enormity. So, and then you said overwhelmed. Well, if I had this enormous thing happen and I was overwhelmed, having someone help me slow down to see the big buckets of the pieces and to help me create a roadmap would help with the overwhelm. Even if I still didn't know how to do it all, it would be a beginning.
Okay.
And it would be enough for a perception shift.
Right. All right. No, that's good. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. June, I saw your hand.
I know it did it again. Two things came up for me. In my past world, people wore armor. Nothing was ever wrong. I mean, even in 2001, when everything was hitting the fan, people were saying, not here,
Mm-hmm.
not with my firm, you know. So,
My backyard, yeah.
no. So that's one thing. And the other thing that came up is I'm used to talking to people like this.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to put a price on it. And it's like, oh my God, type of thing.
Okay, so 2 different issues. Which one do you want to start with?
The first one.
Okay, so these are people that have an armor. They're doing a lot of image management,
Yes.
right? It's a lot of image management, with which all of us are constantly doing image management. So you probably know a little something about image management. Look at the people on your paper, pick a name, and tell me the person's name. It can be a fake name, but who are you thinking about reaching out to?
I didn't put any names down because all my people have armor, and I'm thinking,
Pick
who
one.
needs
Pick
to
one
talk to
name.
anybody?
You'll see. Just get someone in your mind so that we can do a real, it needs to be real.
Okay. Her name is Anna.
Another Anna. They're all Annas
I
tonight.
know.
Anna all around. Okay, tell me about Anna.
She has a couple of daughters who are not doing what she would like them to do. In other words, you have a great education, but you're taking off to be an actress.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not happy about that.
What does it mean about Anna that her daughters are doing that?
I don't know, because I've never gone to that level with her, because it's always stopped.
Okay, so what if with Anna, she has a big job as well?
Oh yes.
Okay, so what if with Anna, and how often do you talk to Anna?
I would say, gosh, every 3 months or so.
Okay, so what if it was, Anna, I've really been reflecting about who you are, all the plates that you carry, the polished way that you go about things, and how you balance career and motherhood. I can only imagine the extreme amount of pressure that you are under. And I wonder, would having a coaching conversation where we could deflate the balloon just a little bit be helpful to you? Something like that. You would come up with your own words around it about Anna, or something about, and I know that you've done a lot of work to preserve and promote your image, your professional image. I know what kind of pressure that takes. And I wonder, when you get underneath that, what's the perception that you need to examine? Something, it's always a provocative question that really kind of uncovers a truth. That's how you end up creating good client connections, potential client connections. It's almost like I see you and I pulled the covers off, and it's still okay. It's very respectful, but remember, with coaching, we're willing to say the things that other people won't. We're willing to serve potential clients instead of please potential clients. They are usually taken aback and they feel very, very seen. They feel very seen, and that's powerful. So what are you hearing in that, June?
I'm still dealing with a perception about myself that I have to change.
Which is?
A little bit of so why would she really want to talk to me about this?
Okay, so why would she?
Because I I can create a different world for people.
Say more about.
I have processes that I use that really help eliminate negative thoughts, and I can help people build a different type of reality for themselves. And they have to understand what type of reality that is. that they want, and I can help them do that.
So that sounds pretty powerful. And if you think about each person that you're going to reach out to and something that you know about them, make it less earthreal and make it a little bit more specific to who they are. You know, I know that your world is this, and I'm wondering if you'd like to bridge the gap to this. You know, this is one of the things that in my years, all these years of corporate, it's a fine-tuned skill that I have. And I don't know if you know this, but in addition to how you know me, I have also added coaching to my list of titles. Something like that.
Okay, thank you.
How's that sitting before we just say thank you
Oh, no, it is, yeah.
Yeah, did anything shift?
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
say what?
The attitude. I see the attitude now. I can be that attitude.
You can be that attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the attitude, what are you seeing in the attitude? How would you name the attitude?
Confident that I can do, I can help her.
Yeah.
And just to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I heard when you told me you can help people shift realities and this and that. I was like, yeah, you got to talk to June. June's the reality shifter. Yeah. So go with what you know about yourself. And remember, just because it's different than our old careers, I was a publicist before I was a coach. That's a very different career. But when you show up as like, hey, I've added this to my list of titles, people don't tend to blink. It's like, oh, okay, because they're thinking about themselves anyway. But if I can help them bridge the gap, whether it was their PR campaign or what's happening in their life, they just want a solution. They want someone who can do that. It sounds like you can, June. Yeah, thank you. Anyone else want to make a comment here?
I have a question about, so when you send that message
Mhm.
and you say like, hey, I wonder if it would be helpful to spend an hour, you know, so on and so forth. Do you ever give them an out so that if they wanted to turn you down, it would leave that relationship intact or more comfortable? Seeing like, if this isn't the right time or if it doesn't go well, you know, I wish you the best and good luck or whatever.
So typically what I say is, you know, if this feels important to you, let's schedule it. But I don't say, you know, but you don't have to. They already know they don't have to. They don't owe me anything. And so I try to meet the person where they're at from my perception. And I really think about them for the bullseye. And, you know, I make some inferences in the email. And then when I offer it, I do say only use it if it feels important. If this feels helpful and supportive to you right now, we should schedule. And then if they get back to me, usually they'll say, oh my gosh, thank you for that offer. No. Or, oh my gosh, thank you for the offer. Yes. But either way, I let it be okay because I'm not making it personal what the yes or no means.
Got it. Thanks.
Okay. So you can see that when you're looking at every single person and you're looking deeply at who the person is, there's perceptions and there's vision. You want to get inside your potential client's head and really help to know what that vision is. So the next thing for you to really think about is if you are going to create your own client creation map, you know, this is for you. This is something personal to you. How would you want to go about it? And this is what I mean by that. How many people would you want to have and think of their names, reconnection calls with? Next column is connection call. These are the people that you want to spend that 30 minutes with, different than the 15-minute reconnection from someone that you used to work with or go to school with. And then who are you ready to invite to a coaching experience? Write their names down and then really, really spend some time thinking about them. So what you don't want to do is just send any kind of an email. Those are the ones that get deleted and people, you know, don't want to talk to you when they see you at places because you've sent them these kinds of emails. But when you send an email that takes a chance and that's bold, people do respond. You know, they do respond. And if it's a no, it's completely okay. That's all right. But put some people in each of those columns, because when it comes to coaching, it's not about your website. It's not about your niche. It's not about your CRM, being ready. It's not about any of that. It's about being bold and changing your own perception about being ready and helping a client change their perception that they're having in their own world. I'm going to open it up for questions. We have a few more minutes. That's what I had for you tonight.
I wonder if you could speak to the like if I'm making columns and putting people in the 3 different categories. I get reconnection call, old colleague, old
Yep.
classmate, what have you. Where would you differentiate between straight inviting to coaching versus inviting for a connection call?
So if it's someone that I've already connected with in the past, then I might invite them to a straight coaching. If I've never had the connection call, then I invite to a connection call. And the connection call, I just want to see what's going on in their world. You know, what are you looking to create by the end of this year? What have you tried? Where are you stuck? You know, what's the perception going on in your life right now? Like, I want to find out those things before I decide if I want to invite them to a connection call. But let's say I had a connection call with someone 3 months ago, something different's probably going on in their life right now. And so I might ask about that. Hey, last time we talked, this is what was happening. Is that thing still happening? And would it be useful? Is it a more supportive time now for us to have a coaching session? If so, and it feels important, let's schedule. Do you see the distinction?
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Who else? Question, comment? Okay, how about some takeaways? What did you get from tonight? What did you learn?
I'm really realizing that I brought up coaching too early. So before getting to the vision and before getting them excited. So I think that's going to be really helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, it's slowing down to speed up is always important. When we start with like, hey, we should coach, and they're like, no, why would we do that? I don't even know what that is. That's where people feel like they don't need it, is when it's too soon. Good notice, Mary Grace. Who else? What did you get from tonight? What's your takeaway?
Perception shift in myself first, and then secondly with the potential clients or individuals I'm going to reconnect with or invite to coaching.
Yeah, good. Good. Who else? What's the takeaway?
I love the idea that you can always go deeper, even if they say, oh, everything's going great. You can push on that and all sorts of interesting things can come up.
Yes. Yes. Bill, I saw your hand.
I think it might relate to the perception shift, but you know, breaking free from the rules that might put in front of my place about, well, I'm not ready to do it until this happens, or these types of things need to occur before I can engage appropriately. But just do it, man.
Good, good. Next month, I am going to work. Okay. Michael, I'm going to mute you just because I'm getting feedback with yours off mute. Next month, I'm not going to be here, and we are going to have a guest speaker, Nick. He is here with us. Nick, tell them a little bit about what you're going to be presenting on next month.
I think it ties well with what you're talking about today. And I know, Gretchen, you specialize in all sorts of coaching, but so much in, hey, here's the system, here's how to think about, different calls and different steps to take. And I'm really intrigued, what are the internal struggles and challenges that new coaches go through? And a lot of times we feel alone, like, oh my gosh, I'm the only person going through X. But let's talk about that and see if that's really true.
Yeah, good. So I hope that you all will take action on something that you learned from tonight. Otherwise, these are just nice conversations. And while that's great, love you all, I want you to earn money and to serve as coaches, because we are all out here doing very powerful work and it's important. And I hope that you will come to June 1st, Wednesday. Nick is a great speaker. He has a lot to share with you. He and I have worked together on and off for quite some time. And he really knows the ins and outs when it comes to mindset. He's had his own things with mindset shifts. And he really has done some stuff with his different client creation as well. So his is going to be a good talk next month, and I hope that you'll come to that. I hope you have a great May, and I will see all of you. Well, I'll see all of you not next month, but the month after. Have a good night, everybody. Take good care.
Good
Thanks,
night. Good night.
Gretchen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.